Welcome to the Baker Buzz, where we celebrate the voices of Baker College. Since 1911, our mission has been simple and powerful, creating better futures, one student at a time.
Hi, I'm your host, Aaron Maike, and I'm so thankful that you're joining us today to hear another voice that makes Baker College so special. Today I'm here with Jack Crawford. He's a cyber defense student and the captain of the Baker College cyber defense team. Welcome, Jack.
Hi, thanks for the warm welcome, Aaron. I'm excited to talk about my team today.
I'm excited to hear. I've never met you before, but I hear all of the wins that your team has and all the wonderful things you do, so I'm super excited to hear more about that. So, Jack, what inspired you to get into cyber defense, and how did you then get involved with our cyber defense team?
Well, I actually started out as a IT professional outside of the cyber defense sphere in general, like IT systems administration. I was first gravitating towards cyber defense because I like the additional complexity of the problem, that there's someone else who's misusing a device or misconfiguring it and using it in unexpected ways to get these malaligned results. And so being someone who has to unweave that on top of what's the expected system is kind of like an extra level of excitement for the field, you know?
So cyber defense, we should probably back up a bit because I don't think I can thoroughly describe what cyber defense is. Why don't you tell our listeners what cyber defense actually is and what you do in that career field?
Okay. So everyone's familiar with the idea of an antivirus in their computer. But when it comes to enterprise level cyber defense, most of what we're doing is ensuring that systems are not leaving gaps open that can be exploited by someone coming by. And there's more that you would expect on the in the minutia of operating systems procedures than you'd expect, learning to code or hack. Though coding and scripting is a large part of what we do because there's so much that we have to manage on a complexity scale that we end up automating a lot of those tasks so that we're kind of, shoring up defenses that someone can either attack at the macro scale or at the micro scale. So there's a lot of knowing very small, in this menu, this setting, this kind of thing needs to be set or, something bad could happen. And then at the macro scale, it's how are we setting up, groups of people to have access to what they need to have, And then, of course, what you'd expect, getting your updates out, things like that.
So really, you're building a system that's impenetrable, theoretically, from the outside.
I think one of the principles actually is to kind of embrace the idea that nothing's impenetrable and have a recovery plan ready. You know what I mean? There's going to come a day where your system will fail and you have to have your plan B, and your plan B has to be better than your plan A, hopefully. You know what I mean? I remember an anecdote from someone in my team was that, if we were just doing this at work, we would just shut everything off and just come from a backup. Well, a lot of our competitions model more of a live attack environment.
So you mentioned competitions, back-to-back championships. Talk a little bit about what that looked like and how those competitions go, and how'd you get so good?
It kind of has a sports movie feel to it a little bit, but Baker, we do win at the states level more often than not. And so it kind of has that feeling where these other teams, they're like that underdog, really hungry to win team. So we have to stay exactly as hungry every year if we win or lose, you know what I mean? So we're always trying to stay 1 inch ahead, mainly studying the competition, keeping in contact with alumni, using their experience to then build like a pyramid of skills that can elevate the team. You know what I'm saying?
That's amazing. So you practice.
Yeah, we that'd be an
Talk a little bit about practice times and your lab. What's it look like?
Okay, so the lab itself, we have a bank of computers, 8 stations, because that's what our team size is. Though we can field extra team members as auxiliaries that study, kind of like how you'd have on a stage play. You have a second that can take a place. So we have that, and then we also have a server room, which has been cobbled together from IT's hand-me-downs. We get anything that, Baker uses for their real infrastructure that gets decommissioned. We're like, hey, can we get a pinch of this, a pinch of that? And IT has been really great with supporting us and keeping us involved in a physical environment. But what's awesome about the club that supports the team is that students are building the infrastructure. We're building the environment that we'll be taking control over in our competitions, or a mock of it. And then, so we have a constructor's view or intimacy with the technology we're using, and then we're able to practice on it. So
you build the system and then try to attack it.
Yes, and it's one of the things every year we take an approach of reckless abandon to wipe all the boxes and have people come in who are new and just make them build it, from the ground up, because that's the way you're going to have to learn your system. How do you know something's been set wrong if you didn't set the settings yourself the first time? So that's a lot of our practice. And then I would say the other majority of our practice is drilling like business tasks or technical tasks that we may be approached with during the competition, because our competition consists not only of a live attack team, which is our red team, but we also have a white team, which is like our employer or our supervisor, our shareholders, and we have sometimes at the regional level we have orange team, which is like a user base who are expecting the website to work, because you can't just keep it defended, you have to make it work at the same time. And also, like last regional, our scenario was to transition from a hard environment to adding a cloud element. So doing that while being attacked, that's kind of what the competition looks like. So keeping that in mind, our practices have to address, how good are you at writing emails? How good are you at, explaining to, somebody in corporate who's not in the IT sphere, these complex, multi-level attacks that we're trying to defend off, So.
That sounds fascinating. I don't know anything about IT other than I turn on my laptop or my MacBook and it works, or I use my phone. So tell me a little bit more about the competitions. You said you win states really regularly. Then you go to regionals and then nationals. Nationals, if we can hit that regionals, hit through regionals. So the team has made it to nationals before and succeeded there, but not in recent years. Our main proving grounds have been at states. If we can get through there, we can get to regionals, and then we compete at a higher level against other schools there. This year we did a lot better than last year. I hate to say it, but COVID really did hit the team hard. We had a dip in numbers and things, so it was a kind of a hard recovery from those years. But we were back at the championships last year. This year we scored through the championships and then raised our standing by, I think, 4 standings. So we did pretty well at the regionals competition. I'm really proud of the team, considering what we had going together. Every season, there's always small, soft logistic challenges, everything. And the team, just the fact that we get in that room and compete at the level that we do is kind of miraculous on its own. You know what I mean? It's truly a team camaraderie. You build up and you guys hold each other accountable to perform. Absolutely. So is all of this done virtually, or do you travel to these competitions as well? Well, the regulations require that we have, certain requirements. So for the invitational, we all congregate at the Owasso campus. And for the invitational states and regional competitions for CCDC, which is the main competition we've been talking about here, that is in person. We also compete in some virtual competitions, some worldwide international stuff like the Hack the Box competitions. We've represented Baker there. We did a virtual competition, East Citadel, this summer with 2 teams for that. So those will be, purely virtual, but CCDC requires, a judge in the room. It's a much more formal, and that's kind of our main season is so judge in the room, and then we go to another campus at a different college for regionals. It's changed throughout the years. So. And you practice at all hours of the day and night?
So we participate as like a micro community, right? If someone's doing homework, we participate with them. So, we all kind of do each other's homework. So one guy gets homework, we're all doing homework tonight. But yeah, so we pre-practice. Some of us practice in the afternoons if they don't have like work. But one of the things that's difficult is balancing a 9 to 5 and a team participation. So our weekends are mostly when we practice, and we practice like 8 to 10 hours a week. And then during the week, sometimes in pockets of 2 to 3 hours. Yeah.
So you work, you go to college, and you're on this team.
Yeah, it's difficult to balance different all your life responsibilities. I'm also an uncle. I have a brother, and a son. I have a lot of family stuff I do too. And hobbies and all that, friends.
Absolutely, you got to have a full life.
Yeah.
So Baker College has been recognized by the NSA and the Department of Homeland Security as a center for academic excellence in cyber defense. What did that mean to you, and what does that mean to our program at Baker College?
Well, from a personal perspective, as someone who's, what am I going to college for, right? Is to get this degree and, prove that I have this skill set, So being someone who's recognized at that level, or, a school that's recognized at that level and getting a degree from there, adds value to my degree. And it kind of shows that we must be, keeping up to some standard here. Being recognized to those standards is important. And those relationships also create opportunities for students. There's, I don't want to name them off because I don't want to say I'm wrong, but there's several, I can count them maybe 4 or 5 scholarships, I think, that are available through those government relationships. So I think that students in the program, if you're looking for government work, Baker is a great launching point.
So there's scholarships through the NSA, through the Department of Homeland Security, and direct alignment for a career afterwards based on graduating from our program.
Yeah. And I believe the NSA has been also involved with sponsoring those kinds of competitions that I do. So
talk to us a little bit about ethical hacking and what that means.
Yeah, everybody who goes through the program has to take some ethics courses and stuff. So there's different sides to ethics in IT. We have responsibilities not only to the organizations that we're working with, but also to society as a whole to uphold responsible use of technology. One of the things that people get surprised by is like you can't hack back, right? So if we're attacked, it's not ethical to go and like try to search through the internet trying to find who attacked your business. And the reason for that is because they might be bouncing off through a school or a hospital, and then we can't just allow cyber vigilantism. You know what I mean? So people are always surprised that we can't hack back, and often during competitions they'll try to bait you into doing so to demerit you points because it's not legal. The other thing being it is with cybersecurity. The other thing is that computers take people away from a face-to-face interaction. And so people will have an alternate set of ethics they use online, or will participate in they just I'm trying to think how I can say this. I guess what I'm saying is that when technology makes a separator between people, that people can just behave in a different way, and it's difficult to, I don't know if I'm going to be able to ground that thought.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So people who are, even you see this just on social media, people will say things on social media that they would never say to your face. So social media creates that divide where you can theoretically be hidden and do things that you wouldn't normally do in your real life, let's say.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, in IT, there's an ethical balance to be maintained between keeping people's privacy and keeping people safe. And I think that's kind of the same problem we'd have in any kind of policing or law enforcement. And so when you're working with an organization, you just want to keep that in mind, and respect both your organization and yourself and others.
So back on the team a little bit, collaboration and communication are essential. you're working in high pressure, high stakes situations, even in the classroom where it's not real life. What have you learned through this program? What do these high stakes situations make you feel like? And how have you really been successful as a team through that?
When a competition room gets heated, one of the things is to try to maintain the same feeling that you would have during a practice, right? So when a room gets heated and you hear like a room get quiet and there's like a heavier pressure in the air, it's important to let people kind of like, still get a joke in, because there can be a focus on keeping the air like quiet, and like let's stay on task. But I find that keeping levity in the room and like the benefits of like a riffing, good joke environment, or just keeping like open communication going, even when things are tense, embracing that things will happen or won't happen in the moment. I think that's the most important part, because you'll never have a perfect run, but you can, they say don't let the, don't let perfect be the enemy of good, right? Just if we're here, we've practiced these skills and then it's time to apply them. Sometimes you have to make decisions to let one thing go in order to get another thing done. I had this one task come in, and these tasks were given deadlines within like 2 hours to do this. And we didn't have someone with the skill set to complete this inject, which is what those tasks are called for us. We didn't have the skill set for it, but we were down to research it, 2 hour time frame, probably some research expected. And so I handed it off to somebody I knew I could rely on. They handed it off to somebody as well to like try to get somebody else in. And so it started to become this like sinkhole. And, it's an 8 hour competition. I had to go to the restroom during this, this team. I came back and they were both up in arms about like how this thing was not getting done. And the task was frustrating them. So I moved them both off it. I assessed the tasks, that we were on, and found that there were other tasks that were not getting addressed. They completed those just fine, got their confidence back, and we were able to address the main task again. I think we were 2 minutes late on it. We didn't get it in. But the point was that we didn't sacrifice those other tasks to a frustration, lock, right?
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
So I say this all, perfection is the goal, albeit unachievable. We will find excellence.
Mm-hmm. My goal is to get enough good people to overlap to create a perfection barrier through the quilt that they can sew from their skills,
Absolutely. So as the captain, you're responsible for assigning work,
yes.
Pulling people off like you just described. How did you become the captain?
So I joined the team my first year, and we didn't really have anybody to keep notes or like organize the meetings. Like the captain and president were very loose with that kind of thing, and they were more focused on these like bigger goals they had at the time. They were trying to drench up the team from kind of like a rough spot. This is the COVID year, and so I became the team scribe or team secretary at the time, and kept notes and kept calendar stuff for us. And then the next year, we had elections, and I ran for president, and kind of shook hands. And with the captain, we became a power team. Got us to regionals. I, as president, mainly did things like, talk to our deans and our, staff about getting, can we get some new computers in here, some keyboards, maybe drum up some interest there, do things like that. I kind of, set up a lot of the club things at that time. And then this last year, I became the captain at the next election, and then we got to regionals again, and, things went better. So, but yeah, I guess the answer is, how do you become captain? You get elected.
Your peers vote you.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Says a lot about you as a leader and a competitor.
I got a lot of free time. No, I'm kidding. I think I'm pretty suited for the role. It's probably my best skill is the managerial stuff. Some of the people. It's one of the challenges is leading people that I know are technically better than me. Because, you'll be like, I want you to do this thing. They want to do, A, you want them to do B, and less than them about computers, but we're in a computer competition. But, that's the thing, is that the team surprises me with the humility and like dedication they have to like that team structure. There's been a previous year. I remember there was some heat in the room, with, sometimes with that happening. But at regionals last year, there is a student who is so much farther in their career than me, my friend Josh, and he still listened to my call, and we were able to get some more things done because he was willing to, he kind of came in for one thing, and we were like, well, we need you to do some more, and he ended up, stretching his role out a little bit when we needed him and helped out despite, him knowing more than me. So,
Jack, you've learned a valuable leadership lesson early in your career.
Thank you.
If you're the smartest person in the room as a leader, you're in the wrong room.
True.
Surround yourself with better people and you're going to be way more successful and give them the resources they need to be successful.
Absolutely.
That's truly amazing. So looking back on your time, whether it be just part as a team, as the president, as the captain, what would you say is the most rewarding thing that you've experienced so far in your time at Baker College in cyber defense?
It's been mainly the opportunity to be part of something that's, I don't want to get too sappy, but, that whole being part of something greater than yourself, right? I am not the team. The team is greater than me, and I get to serve alongside these other people to achieve something that, it's that synchronized swimming feel, being able to work in sync when you get that, the teams, it's all coming together, that the team's working together, we're all in tandem. There's this we call it the silent hour. And it's when everyone just changes their passwords and changes all the settings at the beginning because we spent all year writing down what we're going to do for the first hour. And we just type, when that gets that quiet and you just hear drumming of keyboards and I know everyone's on their program and I just sit there and I look at the task list and just lock in, that's the best feeling. So it's been rewarding in itself.
Wonderful. Jack, if there's a student out there or somebody considering a career change and they're considering cyber defense, what is one thing you would tell them to consider?
Start your documentation early. I think one of the habits of people is to have this exploratory learning style in IT because a lot of people just, it's between them and the computer. They learn from the computer most. And that will let them learn very quick and branch out. But to actually structure your knowledge and know where your gaps are, keeping notes of what you know and what you're learning from things will help you in the future. Build your own guides and build a toolkit as you go. Because you might go 4 years in IT and wish you had some tools you had heard about on day one and not be able to find them later. So,
awesome. Is there anything we haven't covered, Jack, that you would want our listeners to know about?
If you're interested in joining the cyber defense team, this is my main pitch. You do homework. It's IT work that you're not super excited about sometimes, and you're doing it within these confines for these people for this time frame. After school, you're going to be doing the same thing. Work that you're not exactly excited about for some other people in this time frame. Come to the cyber defense team, explore the subject for yourself in your own terms, and kind of do this for you yourself, and then you'll learn better, and then you'll be even better at doing it for other people.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Jack, one more question, and I know this was not on my list for you, but the rise of artificial intelligence has to be changing your field. Tell our listeners a little bit about AI and what it's doing to cyber defense.
I feel like AI itself is an attack on cyber defense, but not in the way that people expect. Because what you'll hear about in the news a lot, and so I don't really need to say too much about it, is that, it's advancing malware, it's being used as a phishing tool and all these things. However, what it's also doing is brain draining the cyber defense community because people are relying on it to try to combat those problems, I would say there's a temptation in the industry to embrace AI as a tool to combat AI, but we also need to be aware that we are draining our own skill set if we're relying on it while learning. So teach yourself, use AI for fun, but until it gets to the point where you need to, I really think that we should be trying to keep those I'm not saying, don't embrace technology, right? But definitely try to make sure you're, learning.
supplement your learning with AI or other technology. Don't use it to be the tool to learn.
Yeah. I mean, it'll whip up a script, but it can't go too far. I mean, I've worked with it, you know, I've experimented with it, and I just think that I've seen students come in and you ask them a question and they'll start asking the AI before asking themselves. And that's kind of the problem, is people are not going to be able to think on their feet.
Jack, thank you so much for taking the time to come on to the Baker Buzz today. Really appreciate you coming to town, and your message is amazing. Congratulations on being the captain. Congratulations on the big wins, and we look forward to more.
I appreciate it. We'll try to deliver.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Baker Buzz. For more information, please follow us on all our social media channels. Until next time, go do something great.